Tonight on Real America's something or other. What is it? OAN. We have The Real Story with John Paul McIsaac. Here he is.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to In Focus. I'm your
host and almost senior
host, Addison Smith.
Addison Smith. Has there ever been a more alpha male? Ever?
You know, the purpose of the media, at least in principle, is to tell the truth. That's it.
I see. So this is your last show?
Our news outlets in America were originally started to report the truth to you, the American people.
That's debatable.
That would be the media in a perfect world. But this is...
Yeah, we've never lived in a perfect world, but please continue.
Far from a perfect world. Principle is dead.
Oh, all right. God isn't dead, according to Kevin Sorbo, but principle is.
What we have instead in practice is not a truth-grounded mainstream media, a media who is supposed to be hard.
Yabba. Bring on the dude.
Something that comes up.
Yeah.
Back some of the people. That these
there he is. For fuck's sake, by the way, this is a 12-minute clip, and it's, with John Paul McIsaac, blah, blah, blah. And he spends half of it before bringing this fucker on. One of the purposes of me doing some of the John Paul McIsaac shit is when he's there for the whole thing, when there's more than 4 minutes. There's a reason why even OAN is only giving this dude like 5-6 minutes tops.
At all for being here. I've just got to ask, what is your reaction now that the Twitter files have been released? Now that
I got to ask you, when are you ever going to finish that 2008 Mac Pro? Get over it. It's never coming back.
We know that big tech was in bed with Democrats prior to.
No, they weren't. The Biden campaign was just that, a campaign. The Trump administration was in power and made the same requests, and Twitter said yes.
The 2020 election.
Arguably, two more of the things the administration asked for.
And even now, even today, what is your reaction seeing the Hunter Biden laptop finally be, confirmed beyond a shadow of a doubt?
Okay, by the way, no, it isn't. There's many shadows, and I have all the doubts. I call bullshit right fucking now. This dude literally could not pick Hunter Biden out of a laptop and could not identify the two FBI guys that allegedly came into his office. Couldn't do it. Under penalty of perjury, couldn't fucking do it.
It's a bit of a relief. It feels like a day late and a dollar short. I filed
I'm with you, Addison.
filed a lawsuit against Twitter for defamation back in February of 2021.
Yeah, and that didn't go anywhere, did it?
I beat Twitter at Section 230 when they tried to get the case thrown out for that. Unfortunately, they switched judges on me, gave me an Obama-appointed judge who threw the case out with prejudice and awarded Twitter the Florida slap statute. So I was financially destroyed.
Personally, I think you were financially destroyed because you bragged about looking through someone's hard drive within 12 hours of having it in your possession. You were rooting through their financial files. I didn't give a shit about the pictures and videos you allegedly saw. He was going through emails. Why would anybody take their computer to this asshole? Anyone.
And I'm pretty sure that outcome probably would have been a little bit different if he...
By the way,
Elon had bought Twitter a couple years prior. But you know what? I'm delighted that it's coming out now. I've known I've done.
MSM is supposed to be government skeptics, not groupies. Oh, I see. So if the mainstream media is not supposed to be groupies, you guys can be, is the idea. So these guys are Trump groupies. Okay, gotcha. All right. I'm just clarifying. I just wanted to see what that means.
Right thing from day one.
By the way, it is rude. In Focus, really?
I also knew something was up when I watched our FBI tell our social and mainstream media to be on the lookout for a dump of hacked material. And
didn't think for a second that Gee, why would Hunter Biden, of all people, come into a repair shop he'd never fucking been in before and see the only repairman that could never pick him out or actually identify him in person? So anybody coming in who could fake the signature could spill fucking bourbon on themselves, bring in 3 waterlogged laptops with a bunch of material on it, mysteriously that only one of them actually you can pull files from, and you get chosen. No other employees, no one else there. He just decides to go to that shop. Really? Why? Because it's convenient?
Because I'm not a hacker. I didn't hack it. I was given permission to recover data. So
yeah, but you weren't given permission to root through any of it. And secondarily, calling you a hacker was people, in some ways, like they're being slapdash with the word. You were worse. You were just a voyeur. You're fucking peeping Tom. And again, this is what I said. Like, why would anybody bring their computer to this asshole? He is going to go through all your emails. Why would you think he wouldn't copy down your passwords and shit?
So it's finally coming to a head, but we're not done yet. You know, I definitely feel vindicated, but this is a long road we have to go to get justice.
So prior to Elon Musk taking over Twitter, the tech company really essentially tried to crush you, didn't they? Describe, what happened.
Crush you? Why? Because people like me were calling bullshit on this story?
What they did to you.
What did Twitter do to you, John Paul McIsaac?
Well, initially, when the story broke, my actions were labeled hacking because Twitter labeled the material hacked material.
Hey, fuckhead. The point is that the stuff got hacked, put on a phony laptop, given to you because you're a fucking dupe, and you disseminated it. You also did not have the right to disseminate that material, period. You were allegedly subpoenaed by the FBI to give it to them, and when you did, you kept a copy for your fucking self. Of course it qualifies in the loosest possible sense as hack material. The only reason it doesn't qualify as hack material is because you don't have actual hacker skills. You defrag hard drives for a living, asshole.
I instantly had my business destroyed and my credibility destroyed
because you told everyone that you looked at someone's personal emails as you were copying them during a transfer, during a data recovery operation. So everybody knows that, oh yeah, that John Paul McIsaac guy, he's the guy that if you drop off your computer for repairs, within 6 hours, he'll be rooting through your shit.
Because of that, if I'm ever going to fix a person's computer again, having the title hacker over my business is not going to, the business isn't going to last very long. So
also, why not? If you're a white hat hacker, if you're a good hacker, or somebody like, yeah, I used to be a hacker and then I do this now or whatever. No, it's because you rooted through the shit and bragged about it, dummy. Secondly, can I point out that this is like the 9th fucking time we've seen this dickhead on Newsmax or OAN, and he's always saying this. There's never any new information. Why is there? It's the same shit over and over again. If there's so much material, there's terabytes of stuff at this point, right? That like there's gigabytes of files that were on this thing, and we're still hearing the same fucking story over and over.
So, for me, I needed to go after Twitter because they were the architect. It's not like they were posting somebody saying I was a hacker. They were the actual author of the idea that I was a hacker. So
no, you were a disseminator for hacked material, stupid. The idea is that Rudy Giuliani bought this hard drive, brought it fucking back. Here, you guys want to see a picture of Rudy when he's buying the hard drive? With the actual trip that he was on? Because I posted it earlier, because somebody was, when Igor Durkash, whatever his fucking name is, got busted. Let's see. Bump-a-da-dump. Yeah, here you go. Andrei Durkash in Ukraine. This is the Russian simp that Rudy was meeting with. The guy who was a Russian sock puppet and was participating in, trying to take down Ukraine, period. This is exactly when Rudy came back with the hard drive and it started making the rounds. It started showing up. Yeah. That's why files were added, because he went and got more shit. He was doing this.
Again, unfortunately, to prove that I would be, or I'm not a hacker, I would have to have.
Also, you can't prove a negative, I suppose. But why are they showing someone typing in twitter.com on oh God, the B-roll necessary to make this shit even remotely interesting.
Hunter Biden testify, and the second that word got out, they switched judges on me and threw the case out. And I think they wanted to.
Wait a minute. Say again.
Because they were the architect. It's not like they were posting somebody saying I was a hacker. They were the actual author of the idea that I was a hacker. So again, unfortunately, to prove that I would be, or I'm not a hacker, I would have to have Hunter Biden testify. And the second that word got out, they switched judges on me and threw the case out. And I think they wanted to make it.
Hey, asshole. No, you don't get to call someone else and make them participate in your civil trial. That doesn't work that way. You can't be called as a civil witness. Judges don't even need that. You can't make someone, you have whatever evidence you have, but you can't compel someone to testify in your lawsuit.
An example out of me by punishing me financially. Basically,
they didn't punish him financially.
Cutting my legs off, making my financial fight or any future criminal fights or court fights are basically.
Yeah, criminal or court or civil or legs. Anyways, my legs are gone.
Evaporated at that time, and they were successful. I almost thanked Twitter, because in the despair of being almost forced to bankruptcy, I wrote my book, which chronicles the entire ordeal, because I honestly felt like I would never get a chance to, I've been silenced on media. My story's been replaced with this Russian disinformation story.
By the way, it has not been replaced. This asshole can talk about it all he fucking wants. He's got a YouTube channel. We went through some of his videos. It's the same shit he says over and over and over again. And yet except when he changes details. That's another story. But basically the same, he kind of repeats the same story points multiple times without ever really expounding on them. And then ended up writing the book, I suppose, which I gotta say, I'm gonna have to buy and read.
I've been shadow banned on YouTube. I've been
shadow banned. Citation needed. Only a hacker would truly know.
The ability for me to take away my story, or the ability for me to tell my story, was taken away and replaced with this hacker Russian narrative. So I'm not giving that up. I'm not giving that fight up. I'm going to continue to fight.
Yeah, keep fighting. Fight. And that's the important thing. By fighting, and by fighting, he means showing up on In Focus with Addison Smith.
This is one victory in a larger war.
Shit.
That war is to hold people accountable.
Well, and what's just so insane to me about hearing all of this
crazy
from you, John, is
it's insane.
You didn't ask for any of this. You didn't have some devious ploy. I mean, I couldn't tell you who you...
Devious ploy? He was rifling through someone's emails and went, oh my God, Beau Biden sticker on the thing. I put 2 and 2 together. Remember that shit? Wait a minute, it's that Hunter Biden? Before he had the story that he actually remembers speaking and all that, which came later, which he didn't. And there was a story at one point they were going to push where somebody else took the laptops and he just worked on them and then saw them. But now he's the only guy there. Like, the shifting has been bullshit. But fuck, I lost track of this garbage story.
To me about hearing all of this from you, John, is you didn't ask for any of...
Oh, yeah. Yes. So he didn't ask for any of this. Yeah, he did. He kept a copy of the hard drive and got it to Rudy fucking Giuliani. He lied to the FBI when they said, give us what you got. And he went, okay, here.
Of this, you didn't have some devious ploy. I mean, I couldn't tell you...
Well, being incapable of being devious because you're a bit of a dum-dum is not the same as being part of a devious ploy.
Who you voted for right now. I don't know whether you're on the left, on the right, in the center. I don't know. All I know is...
Are you kidding me? He's a QAnon, essentially. He was afraid of having it because he thought Joe Biden was going to have him snuffed. The fuck? Think any Democrat gives a shit?
That you came across this laptop, you were given permission to retrieve the data, repair the laptop. That is your job, after all. And you saw that there was some potentially criminal files on.
Yeah, in seconds.
On this laptop.
Yeah, well, you got to check people's stuff. You got to make sure the transferred files are actually, they look good. You don't want any defective pictures that might transfer. You want to look at the pictures.
So you did the responsible thing and handed it over. You essentially have been
To who? To Rudy Giuliani's lawyer?
punished for being a responsible and truthful person. So
Yeah, it's terrible.
what does that say about the people trying to
Former Delaware Mac shop owner on the Twitter files.
punish you?
Well, I really, before all this, I really wasn't that political. I will say that I have been driven to the right from all the death threats I've received from the left.
Who showed up? It was a bunch of, hey, are you that John Paul McIsaac guy? This is Antifa. You better go on OAN or you're gonna be we're gonna burn your shop down if you ever open another one. Remember to tell them Antifa called. Click. Hey, yeah, how you doing? This is Gary from the Proud Boys. Did anybody from Antifa call you? They said what? Oh, it's terrible. Hold on, I got another call. I'll call you back. Hey, this is Antifa again. We're gonna get you if you don't vote for Trump in 2020, and then in the midterms as well. Hey, sorry, it's George again. Gary. It's Antifa. Fuck, I keep. I knocked my earpiece out. I can't listen to the videos in stereo. It's just not done.
The party that's welcomed me with open arms and not telling me to go kill myself has been far more sympathetic than the
You mean the party that you are a stooge for currently? They've been sympathetic. They've welcomed me with open arms.
other side that wants to see me ruined.
By the way, who the fuck? Nobody wants to see this guy ruined. Arguably, I would say that the creep factor of him looking through these files was like a plus on the right wing. But none of us are like being, if it weren't for that John Paul McIsaac.
They created this monster. I had everything taken away except my honor, my integrity, and my dignity. And
You have a pom-pom on your hat, sir.
I'm going to fight to get everything that I've lost back. And not just for me, but for half the country that
For America.
knows I wasn't a Russian, that knows that they were cheated
Nobody thinks you're a Russian, stupid.
in October of 2020 when our mainstream and social media, which I call our state-run mainstream and social media.
But he doesn't really lean either way. He's only gone to the right because, they were nicer.
Decided to take a story and crush it that had consequences not just for me, but for the.
Again, you gave this shit allegedly to Rudy right about the time he got back from Ukraine, weirdly enough. And he had it all this time. And the reason why it was, why didn't they release it in April? Why didn't the New York Post story? Why didn't Rudy Giuliani give them a copy of the whole hard drive in fucking March so that they could vet everything? Oh, because they would find out it was bullshit.
The entire country.
Yeah, and again, their corruption is obvious just hearing your
Yeah, it's just listen. You don't need evidence. Just listen how terrible he had it. You know how you know? Because he said so.
story alone about what they've tried to do to you. John Paul McIsaac.
What did they try to do? They called it hacked materials. He took it personally and tried to sue them and had his case thrown out and got hit with a Florida slap law.
Thank you so much for being on the program today. Really a treat to be able to chat with
It is a treat.
you.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
And thanks for allowing me to come on and say fucking nothing. How many times do we have to go over this Hunter Biden laptop story bullshit where anybody introduces after 2 fucking years anything that adds to that makes it more convincing as a narrative instead of just it was a bullshit story to start with. And the big new drop, the Twitter file stuff, is that the government warned, oh shit, there's a bullshit story coming. And since then, it's still a bullshit story. It's been a bullshit story. You know, I initially started the whole there is no Hunter Biden laptop thing as kind of a poke to see if anybody would actually show the fucking thing, because you knew it would have, you know, like there would be a trail of who had had it first. And the Keith Abloh story where it had been at his place was the sketchiest part of the whole thing. But the idea that there would be a picture of it, somebody would prove that they had it. And then after a while, I was like, shit, they really don't have it. They really never had it. This is the lamest October surprise ever tried. And Donald Trump and his supporters are just livid that their shitty October surprise never fucking worked. And it's never going to. And again, one of the most beautiful things about this is that the chain of evidence is so shitty and the people handling it are so inept and full of themselves that if there ever was anything worth looking at on the Hunter Biden laptop in terms of criminal activity, none of it will ever see the inside of a courtroom. None of it. It'll get a first-year law student could get it thrown out. That's the hilarious part. And even still, prove it's fucking real. And like the latest one, the CBS one, where they're like, our experts looked at how much stuff there was on there. And when the activity stopped, you know, like, asshole, of course, it was constructed to look like that. It's supposed to be what they call an orgy of evidence. I don't know if you've ever heard that term before, but it's a way of, there's probably a movie on Clean Flicks. Okay, or this is orgy of evidence. Common tactic for fictional criminals, especially murderers, is to plant false clues at the scene of their crime, either to deliberately frame someone else or merely to throw suspicion away from themselves. Somehow, however, they take things too far, and the sheer amount of clues they plant has the opposite effect. No detective will believe that any criminal would be so careless as to leave that much incriminating evidence behind. He may also be suspicious because his investigation seems to be turning up all this evidence far more quickly and easily than is usual for this kind of case. Alternatively, the quantity of evidence isn't the problem. The problem is the plausibility of the existence of the evidence, or the investigator's ability to find it. So this is an orgy of evidence. This is referred to as an orgy of evidence, where somebody plants a bunch of shit just to like point, he did it. He did it. It's often used in stories. It doesn't happen in real life with most like violent crimes, of course, because it takes way too much to do. But in cyber crimes, it's very easy to do. And I would argue that there's a orgy of evidence around the Hunter Biden story from this dickhead and all of his, you know, moron supporters. Is there a timeline of the chain of custody on the Hunter Biden laptop? Be interesting to see who has who's had it for how long. There is not, Pepperman, in our chat room. It is McIsaac has said he's given a couple of news sites the clean copy of the files he took from the third laptop that he said was initially broken. The one that he gave to the FBI, and they said they would bring back if Hunter Biden ever came around asking for it, which the FBI does not do. So, because, I mean, and again, the fact that they would do that would also make it inadmissible. It's just so fucking stupid. But the idea is that he gave a copy of that to Rudy Giuliani's lawyer, and he even admitted on Eric Bolling's show, I think it was, that people added files to it after the fact. So the one that Rudy is passing around has been, you know, reorganized to show, you know, all the stuff in easily clickable files so they can hand it out. Even still, his drive is an incomplete one, and he's had it for, you know, for God knows how long. And he's like, this is the real one, even though it's the idea that you would have it in your possession at all times and you carry it with you at all times is an absurdity. And so even the cleanest of clean copies that he says he has, his third generation copy of the original files, wouldn't have the metadata of the original files and where they came from, and has been out of his possession many, many times for multiple days over large periods of time. where he didn't have eyes on it, where anybody could have swapped it out, like that kind of shit. It's just lame. It's just so fun. And it's digital evidence. At this point, metadata or fuck off. Yes, let alone the receipt from the FBI, which they do not use. Yeah, also the receipt from the FBI, which they can't verify at all. Jesus Christ. And the fact that he calls the FBI agents by their first names, Agent Joshua and Agent Mike. Just pathetic. And then, by the way, there's supposedly some whistleblowers that have been meeting with Chuck Grassley. It would be curious to see how much overlap there is in the Chuck Grassley whistleblowers and the people who helped foment this whole Hunter Biden laptop story, wouldn't it? Is that maybe one of the reasons why they're not releasing the names of these whistleblowers? It's not like any of them are in danger, right? The Biden administration is going to fire them like the Trump administration did with Vindman, right? That's not even a concern. So anyways, this is fascinating. I appreciate you guys being with me today. This is Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Regular shows tomorrow, morning show, and then the afternoon show. Thank you for tuning in. And again, I hope we can all have a big sit down and watch a Kevin Sorbo Left Behind movie. And then tomorrow, because I ran out of time and I went way over, tomorrow I'll see what Mark's message for the GOP is. And then, of course, yeah, the economic dumbassery of the right. So much stuff. Anyways, take care of yourself. Take care of somebody else. Don't forget to subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. And I'm sorry, but to the doom sprayers everywhere, go fuck yourself. The world's going to keep on spinning. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.